The story begins in the year 1950, when a meteorite falls from the sky and crashes into a deserted area in America, hitting near a secret military base. After this strange incident, something terrifying happens. Giant, horrifying monsters begin to appear. These creatures suddenly attack the base. After the brutal attack, only 4 soldiers manage to survive. But their struggle doesn't end there. Soon, 2 more soldiers are caught and killed by the monsters with their sharp claws. Now only 2 soldiers are left. Both of them run toward a dark tunnel to save their lives. But after a short time, one of them is also caught. Now just 1 soldier remains. He is terrified and tries to find a way out through the tunnel. The darkness is so deep that he can barely see anything. Suddenly, he turns back and sees a horrifying creature standing right in front of him. It looks like a giant ant. The soldier fires all the bullets from his gun at it, but it has no effect at all. In the end, he also becomes the victim of that creature. From that day on, no one dares to go near that place. Now, in the modern world, we see 2 friends driving through the same desert in a pickup truck. While traveling, their vehicle suddenly stops near some mountains. One of them says he found something strange on the ground. Both of them get down to check. They find several bullet shells scattered on the ground, making them think that maybe a fight once happened there. But when they look closer, they see a severed human hand lying there. They are shocked and scared. Before they can react, a giant ant-like monster suddenly attacks them, spreading blood everywhere. One of the friends runs back toward the truck, but the creature is much faster and catches him within seconds. The next morning, in a small town near the desert, a boy named Brian is sitting at home watching his favorite movie called The Eradicator. In the movie, the hero John Cage plays a brave biker who saves a beautiful girl from zombies. Brian admires him a lot and wishes he had that kind of courage. He thinks that if he were brave, he could confess his feelings to Lisa. At that moment, his best friend Lucas comes to his house and reminds him that today is his birthday party. The party is going to be held at a club in the middle of the desert. Lucas plans to go there on his motorcycle, which Brian himself modified to make more powerful. Now both of them sit in a pickup truck and head toward the club. On the way, Lucas gives Brian a surprise. He stops the truck in front of Lisa's house and invites her to the party. As soon as Brian sees Lisa, he becomes completely speechless. He doesn't know what to say. Lisa gets into the truck, and the 3 of them continue their journey. On the way, they encounter 2 brothers, Tim and Craig, who are riding their bikes at high speed and performing dangerous stunts. Lucas doesn't like their attitude at all. He tells Brian to keep driving the truck, then climbs onto the back of it. From the moving truck, Lucas jumps onto his bike and speeds ahead, racing against the 2 brothers across the sand dunes. It feels like a full race, and in the end, Lucas beats them and reaches the club. At the club, Tim and Craig accuse Lucas of cheating because his bike is modified. But Lucas isn't afraid and challenges them again. Brian tries to calm him down and tells him to just enjoy the party instead of fighting. Meanwhile, Lisa is talking to her friends. Lucas encourages Brian to go talk to her. Brian gathers some courage, but before he can say anything, Craig reaches Lisa first. Seeing this, Brian feels heartbroken. He gets upset and leaves the party, walking alone into the desert to clear his mind. Inside the party, Lucas tries to grab everyone's attention. He announces a special surprise. He has invited Brian's favorite hero, John Cage, to the party just for him. But when he looks for Brian, he realizes he's not there. Lucas understands that Brian must have gone outside. Meanwhile, Brian is walking alone in the desert. After some time, he notices a pickup truck parked behind a rock. Suddenly, Lucas appears behind him and scares him. Lucas asks him to come back to the party, saying Lisa is alone there, but Brian refuses, saying he is not good enough for her and cannot even talk to her properly. He thinks it's better to forget her. Lucas tells him to stop making excuses. At that moment, Lucas notices a cave entrance down the hill. Curious, he decides to check it out. Brian says it's not a good idea, but Lucas doesn't listen. Both of them enter the cave and come out on the other side, where they discover an old, abandoned military base. Meanwhile, Lisa also leaves the party to find them. Craig approaches her and tries to force her to go with him, but Lisa loses her patience and kicks him, making him back off. She then heads toward the military base to find Brian and Lucas. Inside the base, Brian and Lucas explore and find a dark room filled with spider webs and a strange sticky green substance. Suddenly, they hear someone screaming from inside the walls. Brian immediately says they should leave. Lucas agrees and they head toward the exit, but a giant ant is standing there. They get scared and hide behind a door silently. Lucas can't understand how such a huge ant can exist. He calls Lisa and tells her everything, but she thinks they're joking and tells them to come back to the party. After the call, Brian and Lucas decide they need weapons to survive. But they only find kitchen utensils. While moving through a hallway, Lucas accidentally knocks down a rack, making a loud noise. The giant ant hears it and rushes toward them. They run toward the cafeteria. The monster targets Lucas, but Brian makes noise using a chair and tray to distract it. The creature grabs Brian's leg and drags him away. Lucas tries to save him but fails. Just when both are about to die, Lisa arrives with an axe and attacks the creature repeatedly until it dies. She saves them both. Lisa explains that when they didn't return, she thought maybe they were telling the truth, so she came to check. But then she notices a board in the cafeteria that says injured ants release a scent that attracts others. Soon, more ants begin to arrive. The three quickly run to the control room. Through the cameras, they see more ants locked in rooms. Brian uses the gun system connected to the cameras and starts shooting them like a video game. A recorded video starts playing, showing a scientist named Dr. Tong Reynolds. He explains that the meteorite contained alien DNA. The military combined it with ants and spiders to create powerful creatures. These ants grew larger and smarter over time. The queen eventually escaped and started laying eggs. However, the ants need ethanol to reproduce. Since the desert doesn't have ethanol, they stayed inside the base. But if they ever get ethanol, they could spread rapidly and become a global threat. Lisa realizes something important. The party is full of alcohol, which contains ethanol. If the ants reach the club, it will be disastrous. Brian immediately decides they must return and warn everyone. But when they reach the club, it's already too late. The ants have attacked. They are killing people and collecting alcohol to reproduce. Chaos spreads everywhere. People try to escape, but many are caught. Tim and Craig try to escape on their bikes, but Craig is captured. Brian, Lucas, and Lisa arrive and find the place destroyed. They decide to go to the city and call the police. But suddenly, a giant ant attacks them again. They escape on motorcycles, but the ants chase them. During the escape, Brian and Lisa confess their feelings. But suddenly, a giant ant captures Lisa and drags her away. Brian is devastated. Later, Brian and Lucas track the creature to a cave filled with eggs and trapped people. Lisa is among them. They try to rescue her but are forced to retreat. They go to another base, find weapons, suits, and tools, and return prepared. Brian rescues Lisa, and together with Lucas, they decide to destroy the eggs and kill the queen. A massive battle begins. Lucas frees the trapped people and sets the cave on fire using ethanol. Meanwhile, Brian and Lisa lure the ants toward an automated gun system, which destroys many of them. Finally, they face the queen. She is extremely powerful. After a dangerous chase, Brian and Lisa escape by jumping across a canyon on a motorcycle. Lisa then shoots the queen, killing her. Lucas is trapped in the burning cave but is saved at the last moment by Craig, who repays his debt. In the end, everyone survives and returns. Conflicts are resolved. Brian finally meets his hero, John Cage. But suddenly, another ant appears, showing that the danger is not completely over. They kill it together. However, they soon discover that many more creatures are still locked inside the military base, meaning the threat is far from finished.